Meeting of the Social Circle Board of Education for budget public hearing is called to order. First two items on our agenda are prayer and pray the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to ask everyone who would like to please stand while we pray the Lord's Prayer together. Remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, power, and glory forever. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you. The next item on our agenda is the approval of our agenda. Dr. Hooker, are we changing?
There are no changes to the agenda, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion to accept the agenda as presented. Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say aye. The agenda is approved unanimously. Then we get to our public hearing on the budget for fiscal year 2023 budget. This is our second of, I think, three required. Second of our second required public budget hearings. And so I'd like to ask Mrs. Cross to come to the podium. And are there any updates you'd like to provide us today?
I'm sorry.
Are there any updates you need to provide the board?
So the only update I have, which I think we updated in an email recently, was our tax digest came in at a really healthy amount. Tommy Knight has estimated our digest has increased by 15%. Because of that, and because of the budget that we have been discussing and have talked about, the full rollback will be doable with this budget. So based on his calculations, and I think I sent you some information about how the rollback was calculated based on pre-assessments, that would put our millage rate at 18.722, make sure I get that right, which would be the full rollback rate. So the budget that we've been discussing and that I had submitted to you for review will fit within that realm. I am suggesting we go ahead and adopt this budget. The 18.7 will actually come in a little higher than the revenue we've projected in this budget. So what I want to remind you all is a budget is, it's just a tool, it's a planning tool, and it's to be revised as much as you need to throughout the year. So once we get our final millage rate from Tommy Knight, which will be 2 weeks from yesterday, we'll be able to set the millage rate. With that set millage rate, we can revise our budget if we need to a little bit, but knowing that we can use that full rollback rate with this budget.
And what would that mean for future budget meetings or hearings?
We would not, because we're taking the full rollback, we would not have to have 3 tax increase hearings because it would not be considered a tax increase. So at this point, we would adopt the budget, which is on our agenda to adopt tonight. We would then wait for our final digest from Mr. Knight. Once we have that, then we can discuss at the July board meeting our millage rate, and if we want to accept the rollback rate of 18.7. At that point, we can plan to actually formally adopt the millage rate at the August board meeting based on that, but we would not need to hold any tax increase hearings.
Thank you. Dr. Hooker, is it your recommendation tonight that we adopt the tentative budget?
Yes. Well, tonight's budget will be that you will approve at the actual board meeting would be the final budget. The final budget meaning the budget that we're going to start our year with.
Are there any action items tonight?
I'm sorry?
Are there any action items for the board tonight?
Oh, yes, it's not on the budget to approve tonight.
Yes, we have in place already before this meeting starts at 6:30. So
Yes, I'm sorry. It should be on there as an action item to accept tonight. Because we don't have to do the public hearings in July now.
So for this meeting, there's no action item now, but Dr. Hooker, our normal board meeting, will ask to the agenda, we'll say there's a Does any board member have any budget questions for Mrs. Cross? Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Cross. Okay. Well, this is for the public, and it's really staff here, and not the public, but you're not. So I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you. The June 16, 2022 meeting of the Social Circle Board of Education is called to order. First item on our agenda is the prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. We would like to ask all that would like to, please stand while we pray the Lord's Prayer together. Remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is up here to the right. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, we have the approval of our agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda, Dr. Hooker?
Mr. Chairman, we have one change to amend the agenda to add the approval of the fiscal 22-23 school year budget.
Would that go under the new action items, new business action items?
Yes, sir. That will be included in the act.
Let's put that at 8. Okay, so we have a motion, well, we have a recommendation from our superintendent to take the agenda as presented, but to add approval of the 22-23 school budget tentatively tonight under new business action item 8. Have a motion to do so. Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. The agenda is amended as presented. Next, we have minutes from several meetings, actually. You see before you minutes from a meeting on 5/24, our regular May board meeting, which was the second Thursday in May, a May budget meeting, and a public hearing we had in May as well. Do I have a motion to accept all these minutes as presented? Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. The minutes for those meetings are approved. Next, we have our board comments section. And first, thank you for coming. Sometimes I think our spring athletes get the short end of the stick because school's over when your season's finished, kind of, it's our next board meeting. But it's nice to see we have some folks out to support you tonight, and I appreciate y'all being here too. I know you're digging into your summer here, but we appreciate you spending some time with us. And everybody's always welcome here, so this is your meeting, so thank you for coming. Dr. Hooker, you want to have a few comments about the graduation ceremony we had?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. Glad that you come out to our board meeting. I want to thank you for a wonderful 22 graduation that we had for our students. The community came out and supported our students. It was a wonderful occasion, and we wish those students the best as they go forth to college, to workforce, or whatever they may do. I want to thank our faculty and staff. I believe they have a great foundation from here at Social Circle, and they'll make us proud in the future. So thank you again for your support of the graduation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hooker. And then the last comment under the board comment section is I wanted to let you know that many of the board members just recently went to Savannah for 2 or 3 days, and it was the State School Boards Association Conference. We got to hear from our governor and the Democrat candidate for governor speak about education, so those were very informative. But my biggest takeaway out of all that was that we really have it great here compared to many places in this state. And it's really due to the support we get from the community. So I wanted to thank y'all for that support. You ought to hear those other school board members. They don't have it as easy as we do. So we appreciate your support. And then it's the big reason why we have such a great school system. So keep it up, and thank you very much. Okay, moving right along, we have our public participation part of our agenda, and there's no speaker tonight. So we'll go into our special recognition. And I'll turn this one over to Dr. Hooker.
At this time, I'm going to ask Coach Dawkins to come forth and speak about our varsity baseball season.
I'm going to go ahead. Before I start on the team, I do want to take a moment to thank our Dr. Hook and the board for your support of our student athletes. I think I can speak for all the coaches at the high school and middle school. Without you guys, it'd be really hard to do what we do. We have some of the nicest facilities in the state, in my opinion, and that's thanks to you guys. I want to thank Mr. Armstrong and Coach Hargrove for your support of me and the coaches and the players, especially when we made the playoffs and we didn't play a single home game. So we missed a lot of school over the course of most of April and the first part of May. And so thanks for being understanding with that. Again, couldn't do it without you. I probably can't say this enough, but I'm going to say it again. I want to thank the parents of our baseball program. You know, it's makes our job easier knowing that every day when we come to the field, our concession stands are taken care of, our boys are fed before and after every away game. When we went on the road for the playoffs, we knew we had hotels to stay in. We had nice hotels to stay in. We had good food to eat. And just seeing you guys in the stands every day, support your boys and support their teammates. They might not always say it, but they're extremely appreciative of you, as well as the community coming out and watching them. It's hard to play any game when the stands aren't filled, and that was, we never had any shortage of that. Our stands were constantly filled. Even when we went on the road to the playoffs, our fans and our parents traveled really well, especially all the way down to Folkston, Georgia, which was 10 minutes from the Florida line. The stands were packed. So that means a lot, and I will forever be grateful for that. I know those boys will, even though they might not always say it. So getting to our team up there, we had a special team this year. I know every coach says that about their team, that every team's different, every year's team is different, every year's team is special. This one truly was. This was my 6 years as head coach and 8th overall coaching. And I can truly and firmly say that this team was different. There's just something about it, about this team when they showed up to the field every day, whether it's practice or a game, they showed up ready to go, get after it, and they pushed one another to be better. They ragged each other and they picked on each other, but it was what families and brothers do. And at the end of the day, I knew that they had each other's back. And we finally, this season, we finally saw that come to fruition and that closeness come together. A lot of these guys have been together since they were in middle school, 6th, 7th grade. We've had a couple of movements, but for the most part, these guys have played together for the past 5 years. And I think what makes this season so special, and I've said this once and I'll say it again, we did it with one senior. And so the future is extremely bright from our middle school all the way up to those guys that are returning. We have 11 seniors, or upcoming seniors for next year. So, the expectation isn't the Final Four wasn't just a one-time thing. The expectation is we continue to go back. And they believe that, and our parents believe that, and the community believes that, and I believe that. And because of that hard work, we saw it throughout the season. We challenged ourselves pretty early on. The big thing that sticks out was in February, we went to the Georgia Dugout Club tournament in Emerson, Georgia. We were the only single-A school in that tournament. We played a bunch of 5A and 6A schools. There were some even 7A schools there. I saw our guys grow up a lot in that weekend. We took our lumps, we took our bruises, and we found out a lot about ourselves, and I truly believe that it really built us for success moving forward. Some things about this season. One of the goals that our guys set, and these are team goals that they set at the end of the season, one of their goals was they wanted to win 20-plus regular season games. They came up with that goal as a team, not me. And they ended up, we played 30 regular season games, and they finished 21-9. So they accomplished their goal. And to make matters even better, they finished the regular season 27-13. We finished in the final rankings, number 4 in the state. And over the course of the playoffs, we went to Wilcox County, who was 27-0 before we went down there and played in the Sweet 16. They're 27-2 now, and they're the number 1 team in the state, and we're their only 2 losses of the season. That's in the history books forever, that they'll never finish undefeated because we beat them. We beat the number 5 team in the state, and Elite 8 with Ace Charter. These guys, these boys sitting over there, didn't care who was across the field. It didn't matter who we were playing. They believed in themselves, they believed in each other, and it showed up every day. And so I'm super proud of that. Again, made the Final Four. I made a mistake and said that it was the first time in school history. It is the second time in school history, and I just wanted to correct that mistake. Second time in school history that we've made the Final Four, but it's still a big deal. And I'm still proud of these guys for what they've done and accomplished in that season. And we were rewarded for it with some postseason awards. The first one that we're going to talk about, Mason Moore. He's not here, he's out of town. But he was named for the second year in a row Player of the Year for our region. He ended up batting over 460, had 6 home runs, 39 RBIs, 54 runs. And if you ask anybody in our region, any coach in our region, they're going to mention Mason Moore. He likes to talk a lot of smack, like I'm sure he does on the football field. He does the same thing on the baseball field. He has everybody's respect. Everybody respects him, and he plays the game the right way, and hard. Our second one is our pitcher of the year, Braden Mitchell. Braden Mitchell finished the season 9-4 overall in the season. Through 60 innings, had 64 strikeouts, and couldn't be prouder of Braden and what he's done. Considering that this is his first year as a starter. The previous 2 years, he was a reliever, came out of the bullpen, and this year, going into the season, we wanted to make him a starter. So he did nothing but take the ball and go out there and give us a chance to win. He did it at the plate, too. I know he's named Region Pitcher of the Year, but he did it at the plate as well. He hit 340, 25 RBIs, and 32 runs. And we don't have a statistic for it, but he probably led the state in sack bunts. And it felt like every time he came up to bat, we didn't have to give him a sign halfway through the season. He knew he had it. Mason Moore got on base. He knew what he was doing. So, and he did it. He's the best punter in the state of Georgia. He also probably led our region in hit by pitches. So those are 2 statistical categories that not many people take pride in, but Braden Mitchell does. So that I'm proud of Braden. We got our next 2. We got our next 2, our first team all region. Our first one is our only senior, Jason Ball. And when we were at the region coach meeting, we were talking about who we were going to have pitcher of the year. It came down to 3 pitchers. We had Nathan Durham from Washington, Wilkes, and it came down to Braden and Jason. And Braden barely beat him out with the votes. But Jason didn't do anything but, be our number 1 all year. He ended up pitching 65 innings, and he was 3 strikeouts away from 100 on the season, which was extremely impressive. He broke his brother's single-game strikeout record this season, which I know he is proud of, and that's bragging rights that he has with his family for the rest of his life, at least. And again, with these 2 guys pitching, I don't know what kind of run we make without these 2 guys pitching, and without Will Atha either. Will Atha threw 3 huge games for us in the playoffs, game 3s, where it was win or go home, and he did nothing, came in and gave us a chance to win, and we did for that. Proud of him as well. Our next first team all region was Logan Cross, who batted .435, had 2 home runs, first 2 home runs of his entire baseball career. And they came at possibly the biggest moment ever when we were in the Sweet 16 against Wilcox County, number one team in the state. He had a grand slam and a 3-run home run in the same game, I believe, right? Same game. Okay. And those couldn't have been any bigger home runs. But he didn't do anything, just consistent. Shows up every day, puts the work in, and it shows on the field. We have 4 second-team all-region players. Our first one is Paul Kendall, another junior. Paul Kendall batted 288. 25 RBIs and 15 runs. He caught for us, DH, and at the end of the season played outfield for us. Again, I can't say enough about what he did. Just showed up every day. Whatever we asked him to do, he did it. He isn't one of these ones that been in social circle for as long as you can remember. He moved in, but he's quickly become part of this program, part of this family. I'm glad I have him. I'm glad he's not playing for somebody else. Our second guy is Lucas Langwood, one of 2 freshmen that started on varsity for us this year. He finished the season batting 299 with 3 home runs. Led our team in stolen bases with 16, 24 RBIs and 22 runs. Why teams continue to pitch to him, I don't know, but they did, and he didn't do nothing to make them pay for it. And so I'm glad I have him for 3 more years, and so he contributed a lot as a freshman. Our third guy is Mitch McCullough, our starting catcher, caught the joy of the season. He batted 319 with 35 RBIs. I believe he came in second with RBIs to Mason, but he every day back before hole, we knew we had a chance to score runs if we had men on base if he came up the bat. And so just proud of his growth from his freshman year to his junior year, where he's come and gone. And then our last second team is Cade Richardson. He is our other freshman that started the majority of the season. He came in, he was our closer for the entire season, and you couldn't tell it that he was a freshman to step on the mound. He had nerves of steel. He had that quiet confidence about him, and sometimes loud confidence about him, especially in big moments. But he didn't do anything. He wanted the ball. Ace Carter is the one that sticks out in my mind, coming in and shut the door in games 1 and game 3 to send us to the Final Four. And again, just like Lucas, he's got a big future ahead of him. And I'm glad I have him as part of my team as well. I do want to call Will Aitha up. He's our honorable mention for the region again. I can't say enough about him. He kind of like Braden, hadn't really started prior to this year. Actually, his freshman year didn't play baseball. So last year was his first year playing high school baseball. And then this year, he didn't even start off the season as a freshman. He started off in the bullpen. But we gave him a chance to start, and he didn't do anything but prove me wrong that I should have started him a lot sooner. And he threw some crucial game 3s up in that playoff run that helped us keep advancing and keep that magical run going. We also have, and they're already up here, this is probably, in my opinion, probably one of the biggest honors that you could possibly get, is being named All-State. And that's All-State for all of Single A, from all regions. They vote on it, and they pick All-State. So first team infield was Logan Cross. First team infield was Mason Moore. First team pitcher was Brady Mitchell, and then honorable mention was Jason Ball. And that's just a credit to their work and what they put in and what they did. They showed up every day and they did what was asked of them. And for that, I couldn't be proud of them. They should be proud of themselves. I know their parents are, and I know we as a team and program are. And the last thing I want to do is I want to get everybody else, the rest of my guys, to come up here. One of the things that, when I came in 3 years ago, when we had our first parent meeting, one of the things that I talked about was academics. That's the way I was raised, the way my parents raised me, was, school comes first. We're student athletes, and student comes first for a reason. And so we put a very big emphasis on our grades. And one of the goals that we made at the end of the year is we wanted to finish the school year with a team GPA of 3.0 or higher. We did that. We finished with 3.14 team GPA, which that is all the credit goes to them and the hard work that they put in the classroom. And that's what I'm most proud of. Yes, we made that Final Four run. Yes, we had our accomplishments on the field. But at the end of the day, my job as a coach and the jobs of my assistant coaches in our program is to make these men better when they leave us, and take care of business in the classroom. And they did that. And for that, I'm super proud of them. And again, again, I'm excited for what the future holds. I can't wait to get after it next year.
Coach Sharpen, and again, congratulations to your team. At this time, we'll ask Coach Kemp to come forward to speak about track accolades for this season.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Dr. Hooker. I want to say thank you to all of you, including Mr. Armstrong, Dr. Boer, Mr. Hargrove, and also our coaching staff. And our coaching staff is Michelle Granovich, is one of our coaches, and Mr. Thomas Russell is not here. But we've had an amazing season. Coach Richardson, we're not fighting for the track and the field anymore. January comes around and you have soccer, and middle school soccer, high school soccer, middle school track, high school track, and all of us are fighting to use the same facility. You make a workout and you come out, oh, they have a soccer game today. Well, we just adapt and make it happen. Let me say thank you to the baseball team, but not thank you, but congratulations, gentlemen, job well done. A couple of you guys I've coached in other sports like basketball, such as Lucas Langley. Send that pick, Lucas. If y'all never seen Lucas play basketball before, you think he's playing football the way he set picks. But great job down here. And also Logan Cross and Mason Moore on the basketball court. We miss you guys, man. Dad, Mom, I hope they'll come back out because I think we can make a serious run at the basketball championship again. But going back to our season, we started on the 24th over at George Walton with the skeleton crew because a lot of guys were still playing basketball, girls were playing basketball, so trying to mix from basketball right into track was a heck of a task, but it happened. Someone once said that track and field doesn't require any thinking, and I told him, I said, I tell you what, go out and run one lap around this track as fast as you can and tell me how much thinking you're going to do between the start and the finish. And he came back and said, now I understand. The sport has become very technical. We actually could use more coaches, but we use what we have to make it happen because a lot of people tend to think we just come out and run and jump. But there's a lot of technical aspects to it because we divided into sprinters, distance runners, middle distance runners, our throwers, and our jumpers, which requires different techniques and training. So to finish it up, we ended up hosting a couple of meets. A few years ago, I had this idea of introducing or bringing Redskins Invitational Relays. We started with 8 teams. In year number 2, COVID hit. And when Mr. Hargrove called me on Thursday night and asked how many teams we had coming, I was like, Lord, please don't let them cancel it right now. Let's wait until Monday. But we ended up canceling and lost that particular meet. But this particular season, we had like 14 schools that are committed to coming, and I turned down about 5 or 6. In Albany this year at the state championships, the word was, or the catchphrase was, where is social circle? When I came to Georgia years ago, it used to be where is Loganville, so now it's where is social circle. Social circle high school is on the map. Everywhere we go, even this past weekend, we were at the University of Georgia basketball camp, and everybody's talking about social circle. Down at Georgia College camp, they're talking about social circle. Where's social circle? We're 45 miles east of Atlanta, up I-20. That's where we are. Even the school that we beat, Calhoun County, they want to come play us in basketball. Well, I don't think that's going to happen, but social circle, athletes, you guys are making it happen, not just on the field, but also in the classroom. So with that being said, from Albany, we ended up with 8 athletes making it to the state championships. And out of those athletes that made it, some are here, a couple are here, and some are not. I I guess I'll start with Mr. Philip Baines, Philip P. Baines. Philip has competed in the 200 meters, the 400 meters, the 300 hurdles, the 110 hurdles, the long jump, the triple jump, and the high jump. At the end of the season, we sat down and looked at his best possible opportunities toward winning the state title. And it ended up being the triple jump and the 300 hurdles and the relay. Story to tell about Philip: the day before the region meet, Philip dislocates his shoulder. And everybody said, "Coach, he broke his shoulder, he broke his shoulder." Come time he did dislocate his shoulder. And I said, "Son, you're done." "No, Coach, I'm jumping. You're done. Unless I get a note from a doctor or a trainer, you are not competing." "I'm going to do it, Coach, I can do it." At the region meet, I'm not giving you permission because Phil comes and jumps, what was it, 44? I don't know. I know it's a record. But he's broken the school record in the triple jump several times this year at the state championships. Philip ended up jumping 46 feet 1 inch. He told me, "Coach, I'm jumping at 46. And actually, he jumped about 48 because he wanted to try this new technique of landing on his rear hand. Philip, no, you're going to give up some. And sure enough, his hand comes back. But when the judge finally called the distance out, he said 46-1. All I could do was walk away and drop the keys because he had accomplished the goal there. Unfortunately, the 300 hurdles, he was disqualified because they said that he doglegged the hurdle, and I have never protested or fought so hard. And I told him, "You're wrong, because I know he's not a hurdler, he's a jumper." And the pictures and the video show it, but we couldn't use it. But anyway, we'll make that happen again next year, if the good Lord allows us. But again, Mr. Philip Baines was our state champion in the triple jump. And being a state champion, he also was invited to Night of Champions at Georgia Tech, in which he finished 11th in that particular event. So that was an honor there. Next, we have Mr. Deshaun Hyman. Mr. Deshaun Hyman was actually our number 4 long jumper. And Deshaun wanted to get better. He came to practice during spring break. Him and a little girl, baby sister, came with him, and he kept getting better and better and ended up jumping over 20 feet. He also qualified in the 400 meters. Again, we sat down to look at his stronger events. The 400 meters and 200 meters, he qualified for the state event, state championship there. Again, he finished 7th place in the long jump. So congratulations to Mr. Deshaun Hyman. Next, we have a little girl, Ms. Jada Hyman. Jada came off the basketball court, and she ended up tweaking a hamstring early in the season. And I have the rule that if you're a sprinter, you come back with rehab running the 800 meters. "No, Coach, I don't want to run that." You run the 800 meters. She ended up breaking the school record right off bat. Ran 2:30, 38, 39. And to Jada, what's more important is getting healthy so that we can compete in the region championships. By the end of the season, as Jada she was the number 1 runner in single A public the entire season in the 400 meters. I don't know how many times she broke the school record, but she ended up state champion in the 400 meters, breaking the school record, which with a time of 1 minute and, 57.96 seconds. She was beating a lot of young guys on the track. She broke the school record in 800 at 2 minutes 37.89 seconds. And also in the finals of the 200 meters, she was state runner-up, 25.36 seconds, and she was 5th in the long jump, which gave us a team standing of 13th place overall. Julia Russell, who's not here, Julia has been a state qualifier all 4 years of high school, all 3 years because the pandemic shut it down 1 year. But she's been on the podium all 3 years. She also set records in the 1600 and the 3200 meter run. So Ms. Julia Russell. The other athletes that competed that's not here is Mr. Marion Russell, who competed in the high jump and ended up tied for 5th place in the high jump. AJ Vincent did not make it to the finals in the shot put, but AJ kept wanting to compete against me, and I'm like, "Big boy, you can't handle me." But AJ has shown tremendous improvement. and we look forward to having you back next year. Those were the athletes that qualified for the state championships, and the 4x400 relay team did make it to the finals, and those athletes are now here also. Mr. Baines and Mr. Hyman is a member of that team. We're looking forward to some great things happening next year. Hopefully, we'll have more athletes to come out. Baseball players, we can interchange too. Some of you guys, if y'all want to participate in track, we can work something out. Track and baseball, we can let him run bases, these two run bases, and y'all can run a relay. But again, board members, these are three of our state qualifiers that are here tonight, and I want to thank you all again for the support that you've given us. Not only do we have the middle school invitation, high school invitation, we have the middle school invitation also, whereas we have 13 schools here. So the buzzword around the state, where is Social Circle? Well, Social Circle is right here, 45 miles east of Atlanta, off I-20. Amen.
Great job for these two athletic programs, and for our whole athletic program for the school year was just something I never thought I'd dream of seeing, but it was incredible to watch. So many enjoyable moments. Thank you for that. Okay, we're back from break, and the next item on our agenda is the finance section, which I'll turn over to our CFO, Mrs. Nicole Ross.
All right, good evening. Tonight presented is the April 2022 financial report. With 83% of the fiscal year complete, we have received 87% of general fund budget revenues, and we've spent 86% of general fund budgeted expenditures. We're slightly over the 83% in some of the functional categories in expenditures because most of our expenditures happen during the 10-month school year. Currently, revenues exceed expenditures by a little over $330,000. We still anticipate the year ending the year without any use of fund balance. Encumbrances for the general fund total $129,000. Next, we have our special revenue funds. Total awards remain at a little over $3.9 million. Drawdowns for April totaled a little over $236,000. Encumbrances for the special revenue fund totaled $74,000. And next, we have our school food service fund. We're at 129% of budgeted revenues and 110% of budgeted expenditures. In April, we served 31,858 meals. This is with 1 week of spring break, and this equates to a USDA reimbursement of a little over $121,000. Encumbrances for the school food service fund totaled $753. And lastly, we have our SPLOST fund. SPLOST collections in April for March collections totaled $91,496 from Walton County, which is a 20% increase from the prior year, and $2,624 for Newton County, which is a 7% increase from the prior year. The cash balance in the SPLOST fund is right at $4.9 million. Encumbrances for the SPLOST fund totaled $903,000. Are there any questions?
Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the monthly financial report as presented? Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously.
And next, we have our freshway change for school updates. In April, we received $2,300.74, and this was allocated to each school for STEM. And this brings our total collections to a little over $123,000.
Thank you, Mrs. Cross. Next on our agenda, we have our superintendent's report. Turn this over to Dr. Hooker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I will ask Ms. Louise Woodward to come and give you an update on our strategic plan.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, and Superintendent Hooker. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you an update of the Social Circle City Schools 5-year strategic plan. Just to recap, the strategic plan includes 5 goal areas: family and community engagement, safety and culture of well-being, student achievement, readiness and engagement, quality staff and professional growth, and systems and operational effectiveness. Each of these goal areas includes action items that were developed by members of the Strategic Planning Committee, and they are continuously tracked and referred back to at all levels. As we complete year 2 of the strategic plan, it is good practice to reflect upon where we are as a district and identify what we have accomplished to set goals and action items for year 3. In the goal area of student achievement, readiness, and engagement, the key accomplishments highlight design personalized learning through collaborative planning. This was done through extended planning times and increased teacher collaboration and dedicated time. We reviewed and revised curriculum priorities and pacing. We planned student opportunities for voice and choice in learning through student-led conferences. We utilized effective and engaging instruction and assessment strategies through data digs using formative assessments. We increased technology usage to enhance student learning. We focus on engagement with our summer learning and project-based learning. We had a special ed audit, and we used SEEKs to give feedback to our teachers. We create feedback teams for continuous improvement through our school improvement plan, our vertical alignment of programs, our vertical alignment of instruction, and our writing task force. In the goal area of quality staff and professional growth, the key accomplishments highlight to market and recruit high-quality prospects. We've updated job descriptions, we have competitive salaries and benefit packages, and we've also incorporated an exit survey which can be done online or also in person. We create a positive culture promoting the retention of quality personnel. We offer mentoring and coaching. We have a new mentor-mentee program, and we have a new and revised teacher induction program. We determine and monitor staff professional development needs through surveys from our staff and instructional technology opportunities and resources. We've streamlined district-level procedures for embedded professional learning. We revise these processes and experience so that teachers can take what they learn and incorporate them directly into the classroom. We align professional development to strategic goals. Through RESA Leader Academy, our Tier 1 instructional focus, engagement training, and several book studies, which included Leverage Leadership and Shattering Inequities. In the goal area of safety and culture of well-being, the key accomplishments highlight we implement social emotional learning system-wide, focusing on the wellness and learning for both students and staff. This is through use of zones of regulation and restorative practices. We've implemented that hashtag SCCS all-in message in everything we do. Our equity audits and self-assessments are very informative for this. The My Voice platform gives teachers input to things that are important in the school climate. Implementing a PBIS system-wide incorporates positive behavior and supports for our students in the classroom. We've updated safety plans to install access controls, security cameras, and audio enhancement systems in our school systems. We've upgraded software to aid in our student monitoring while they're using technological devices. The hiring of a lead nurse and social worker has also enhanced our ability to meet the needs of both our students and our staff. And we provide telehealth and KeyPro services. In the goal area of system and operational effectiveness, the key accomplishments highlight to achieve a balanced budget, to refine funding plans to maximize revenue. That's through FTE trainings and in passing the SWOST. We enhance facilities to be equitable and efficient. This is to plan and prepare for student growth and perform those facility walkthroughs to develop a cohesive set of facility guidelines. We've increased school nutrition participation through an improved school nutrition program. The increase of technology use for learning and productivity has increased the efficiency and revision of all of these processes. An online credit card payment system for parents, an electronic PO system for our administrative teams at each school level. Electronic work order systems makes us more efficient in making sure things are done properly. A transportation software will help us to maximize our bus and transportation system And Time Clock Plus is an online system which will help us to keep track of the times that we are professional learning or training outside of the regular workday. We've developed and revised all of our handbooks, and we've created a rotation on replacement system for purchasing new technology. In the goal area of family and community engagement, key accomplishments highlight. Our town hall meetings are offered quarterly. We've incorporated a virtual platform, and we will move to a hybrid platform next year. To enhance community with our families, we offer advisory councils system, an updated system website. We're going to go for a new look and updates that will be more informative to our parents and families, student-led conferences, and surveys for effectiveness. We improve schools and business partner connections through that broad stakeholder involvement in our COGNI accreditation and in the CT80 MRA review. We have wall-to-work partnerships, our faith-based leader meetings, and the Regents Scholarship Program. We plan to continue using our strategic plan to guide our improvement work. We continually revisit this plan and check in on its progress to be sure we are working toward a common goal. Our next steps in the strategic planning process include working with our stakeholders to develop a portrait of a graduate. Thank you again for the opportunity to share this information with you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for the new board member? Thank you, Ms. Wood. Okay, that was quite an impressive list, by the way. Thank you for that. Next, we have our new business and action items. And you might remember from early in the meeting, we amended our agenda, and I believe I captured this correct. For A, we're going to do the tentative approval of our fiscal year 22-23 school year budget, correct? And do you need to add any comment to that, Ms. Cross? Okay. It's before you. Superintendent recommends that we offer a tentative approval of our fiscal year 22-23 school year budget. Do I have such a motion? Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right, now we'll get to the rest of the list of the new business action items. The next one is policy IBDD, gives you student programs.
Mr. Chairman, this is just an update. This amendment is simply to allow for our program for gifted students to be consistent with the criteria set by the regulations of the State Department of Education.
Thank you, Dr. This one needs to sit for 30 days, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We'll let this sit for 30 days and vote on it at our next meeting. Moving right along, the next one for review is a policy JBD, absences and excuses.
This amendment is to allow those students participating in activities or programs sponsored by the 4-H in the same manner as an educational field trip shall be credited as present of the school and shall not be counted as an absence, either excused or unexcused for any day, portion of the day, or days missed from school.
All right, this policy will also sit for 30 days, and we will take action on it at our next meeting. All right, now we have an action item for approval of the fiscal year 23 GSBA insurance renewal.
Yes, this is just an updated policy with GSBA for the 22-23 school year.
We have a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation for approval of the fiscal year GSBA insurance renewal. Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, please say aye. The insurance renewal is approved. Next, we have approval of the fiscal year 23 school meal prices.
Just to give you an update on that, we haven't had any increase in breakfast or staff meals in the last 5 years. Student lunch has increased only 20 cents in the last 5 years. Reduced meal prices will not change. They will remain at 30 cents for breakfast and 40 cents for lunch.
Okay, you have the school meal prices before you. You have a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve the fiscal year 23 school meal prices. Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. The school meal prices are approved. Next, we have a dairy bid action item.
Yes, I will read something and then I'll ask Ms. Marshall to come to the podium to give you more information. But the Bayview Dairy will no longer service our area. A new bid was submitted from Warden's Dairy. Ms. Marshall, if you come forward and share more information with our board.
Thank you, Dr. Cook, board members. This past year in May, we received a letter from Maple Dairy that they would no longer service our area, Newton County, Morgan County, and Greene County. So at that point, we reached out to the Dairy Alliance and sent out a bid to about 6 vendors, and the only bid that we received back was from Ford. So before you was a copy of the bid that went out, and we're asking for approval to proceed with Ford. And then I think in there, we last year we spent $44,000. This bid would be for a year with 4-year extensions. So we just asked for your approval on that.
Thank you, Ms. Marshall.
Do I have a motion to accept the dairy bid from Borden? Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries, so the Borden dairy bid is accepted and approved. Excuse me, next we have an action item for the Georgia Education Cooperative Renewal.
Yes, that's an agreement between our Georgia Department of Education, state procurement staff, and the food committee of the Georgia Education Cooperative Services. So we need your approval of that. Is there any additional information that I need to share with you concerning that as well? Thank you.
Yes, we're part of a group of about 20 different schools that we bid out probably 20 different things, anything from hairnets to food, milk, everything that we service. Our main food supplier is Gordon Food, and they are extending for a year, but they do have price increases. So we're asking for your approval for the extension.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation for the Georgia Education Co-op renewal? Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. And next, we have a overnight field trip request for a boys basketball camp, June 13th through 15th.
And we need your approval on this.
Sure.
I believe this is one we do proxy.
Yeah, we did an email approval, so to speak, and we're just formalizing it tonight.
Yes.
So do I have a motion to accept this overnight trip request as recommended by our superintendent? I have a second.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, next, do I have a motion to exit regular session and enter executive session to discuss personnel? Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, do I have a motion to exit executive session and re-enter regular session? Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Before we get to our personnel, I made a mistake. And during the new business action items, I said we were tentatively approving our fiscal year 22-23 school year budget. I'm going to say that I made a mistake, and we need to actually approve our fiscal year 22-23 school year budget. And so I would ask for a motion for approval of our fiscal year 22-23 school year budget. Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mrs. Cross, and whoever caught that. It's very important. Words make a difference. Okay, so now we'll move right along to our personnel section. And the superintendent has some recommendations for personnel tonight. We'll take each slate. First, we'll take certified recommendations. And on that slate, we have Dr. Ryan Clark as interim principal at our middle school, and Cheryl McFall, certified teacher for our middle school. Do I have a motion to accept these personnel recommendations from our superintendent? Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next, in the certified, we have a resignation recommended by our superintendent, and that is the resignation of Ms. Lottie Azamati, principal middle school. Do I have a motion to accept this resignation? Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Now to the classified, we have 4 resignations. I'll read them all and then we'll vote them all in one slate. Superintendent is recommending we accept the resignations from the following classified staff: Victoria Eccles, Parapro Elementary School; Brandon Hightower, maintenance transportation for the school system; Kim Miner from school food service; and Cindy Young as bookkeeper in our middle school. Do I have a motion to accept these resignations as recommended by our superintendent? Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, please say aye. Motion carries unanimously. And that's all of the personnel for tonight. So do I have a motion to adjourn? Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say aye. Motion carries, so meeting is adjourned.